At dawn the warhorse stepped out gleaming, proud beneath the rising sun. Men praised its neck and stride, and children stared as if at living fire. Each polished strap and silver clasp declared that honor lived on its back. It carried captains through the yard and loved the sound of lifted praise. Across the fence a mill horse turned a wheel in grain dust day by day there. Its harness was plain, its coat was dull, and no one watched it circle there. The warhorse glanced its way and felt contempt rise like easy smoke there. It thought no noble spirit could endure a life so small and silent there. One noon it laughed and asked if dust had choked all hope from that life. The mill horse replied that bread is born where patient backs keep moving. But the warhorse only tossed its mane and treasured louder kinds of glory. It measured worth by trumpets, scarlet cloth, and eyes that followed it there. Then summer hardened, and the call to battle crossed the valley like wind. Men saddled the warhorse with care, and drums rolled through the yard there. It stamped with joy, believing greatness waited where danger met applause. The mill horse watched in silence and wished the proud one safe return there. Days turned cold, and leaves began to fall across the empty stable path there. At last the gate swung wide, and the warhorse came home scarred and slow. Its shoulders shook, one leg dragged, and pain had dimmed its former blaze. No trumpets met that return, no children ran, and no banners leaned low there. Men fed it well through winter, yet pity had replaced the voice of praise. The warhorse lay awake at night, haunted by silence where cheers once lived. The mill horse kept its wheel, still plain, still useful, still without display. When spring returned, the master counted coin and looked at both horses there. A horse that cannot charge, he said, must earn its grain by quieter labor. The polished tack was packed away, and rough straps took its place at dawn. The warhorse stared at the mill path, and shame burned deeper than its old wounds that morning. The beam groaned ahead, and the road it once despised now waited beneath its own aching hooves. The mill horse made room beside the harness and offered only the calm of seasoned endurance there. Round after round they walked, and each circle pressed a harder lesson into lingering pride. At midday the warhorse asked how one bears such work without letting bitterness poison the heart. The mill horse said duty grows lighter when one stops asking whether honest labor looks grand. It said flour fills bowls in winter, and plain service often saves more lives than glory can save. Those words struck deep, for they carried truth without cruelty, boasting, or hidden pleasure. The warhorse remembered mocking dust, plain straps, and the patient strength nobody applauded. Now it saw grain become bread, and understood what quiet usefulness truly means inside a home. In battle it had carried one proud rider, but here each step fed children, elders, and workers. No crowds praised the wheel, yet the village relied on backs that moved faithfully every day. Slowly the warhorse stopped mourning banners and began to respect necessary burdens at last. It learned applause warms the ear briefly, but bread warms the body when cold enters the door. One afternoon boys came to stare and whispered that such a noble beast had fallen terribly low. The warhorse lowered its head, but the mill horse warned it not to trust boyish surprise. Useful work does not grow small because foolish eyes admire only bright and noisy things. That night the former charger could not sleep, as harsh memories returned with heavy clarity. It saw how pride had mistaken splendor for worth, and noise for the measure of lasting honor. By dawn something gentler had replaced that pride, a steadier and wiser strength within. When yoked again, the warhorse stepped forward first and took the beam with patient calm. It no longer dreamed of envy, but of being reliable when hunger and hard need came near. Harvest filled the yard with carts, and the mill turned from first light until late starlight. Side by side the two horses carried the village through another year of weather and need. Thus the proud one learned fame fades quickly, but humble service keeps its value longer. And the yard remembered this lesson, that strength is greatest in honest purpose and humility,